good evening, or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. You know who I am. It is that time again, NFL Week 16 picks. Last week I went 8-8, so I split. For the season, I'm 134, 89, and 1. That's pretty good so far. We're getting near the end of the line, the end of the draw. Some are still fighting to keep their playoff hopes alive. Others are already in. Just in case if you did not, if you missed it, Texans clinched their division. New England, Denver's already in, and the Baltimore Ravens, even though they did lose this past week to Denver, but because of the Pittsburgh loss, Ravens got in, they got above, so they're in automatically. And over in the NFC, Atlanta and the Green Bay Packers are in. I also believe the 49ers, made it last week as well due to the win over win over the New England Patriots. So congratulations to them on that. Which shows you that it is. Now I'm going to be honest, a lot of teams decided not to show up this week. Ravens being one of them, but hey, they made it in. Bills, Bears somewhat tried to show up, but they couldn't really do anything. Chargers and Chiefs, yeah, they didn't show up, and well, Lions, seriously, what the hell. Now, and by the way, I am correct, the Niners did get in somehow, some way, which I will say congratulations to them on that. I'm sure, but the game over Seattle pretty much means a whole lot damn more. San Francisco does have a buff, so they can get no lower than the 6th seed. That pretty much just leaves 2 spots left, and that's in the wild card. Because we know whoever's going to win the East will get in. So it's going to be interesting. The Sunday night game, Niners and Seahawks, we'll get to later, that could mean a lot for somebody. Could mean a lot. We'll get to that later in the video. But for now, let's get to the picks. Game 1, this Saturday night live on ESPN. Notice we're going to have a Saturday night game, y'all. It is the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Detroit Lions. Now I think originally, before the season started, this looks like a game that could have been for a playoff spot. Unfortunately, Atlanta, who has been showing up and playing well, and then the Lions, who have been hit with the Madden curse. I'm taking Atlanta on this one. Lions really just playing terrible football. I mean, they lost to Arizona this past week. How do you lose to Arizona, a team who got destroyed by Seattle? Lions, you're 4-10. You ain't going to get any better. You're going to go to 4-11 after this week. Next, Carolina versus the Oakland Raiders. It's in North Carolina this weekend. I'm taking the Panthers. They've been playing some good football the last few weeks. And Raiders just suck. Moving on. Dolphins versus Bills. Dolphins pretty much just trying to go 8-8 to at least go split on the season. I think that's going to happen. I think Miami wins this week. And goes to 7-8. I know Miami does have I think they have a tough game next week. I don't remember who they play exactly. So yeah, somebody will probably tell me anyway. I got Miami beating the Bills. Next, a game with a lot of playoff scenario. Cincinnati Bengals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Cincinnati did lose to Pittsburgh earlier this year, 24-17, but that was then. Pittsburgh has not been playing too well last few weeks, losing to Dallas in OT and getting destroyed by San Diego. Cincinnati's been hot. Yes, they did lose to Dallas in what was another overtime loss, an overtime win for Dallas. But Cincinnati showed up this past week against Philadelphia. Cincinnati's playing damn good ball right now. Pittsburgh, who knows? Big Ben ain't playing like himself. I'm sure a lot of them wish Charlie was back starting. I'm taking Cincinnati on this one. Yes, Steelers' defense is better, but I actually feel safer with the Bengals' offense. Just because I've watched that Cowboys game and I'm happy Dallas won, but the Steelers looked like they were lost half the time on the field. I don't trust Pittsburgh right now. If Pittsburgh wins this game, that reopens the 6th seed. If they lose and Cincinnati wins, then the playoffs are locked up for the AFC. We know who's in. Next, lock of the week, New England Patriots versus the Jaguars. I'm taking the Patriots. If anyone is taking Jacksonville, you are either A, stoned and live in Denver or Seattle, Washington. B, you are drunk off your ass. Or C, you're one of these morons who think the end of the world's going to happen on Friday. You're one of those three if you're picking Jacksonville to win this week. I got New England. Better team all the way round. Next, Colts versus the Chiefs. Another easy game. Colts win this one and clinch their playoff spot. Kansas City, I feel sorry for what happened to you this year. You got 2 wins. Be happy with that. You're going to be doing a lot of rebuilding and a lot of soul searching when the season's over. But for now, I got to take the Colts. Next, the New Orleans Saints versus the Dallas Cowboys. A game that Dallas needs a lot, depending on what happens with the Vikings and Giants and Bears as well. Granted, the Vikings play at their time, Giants play late, and Bears play late. So Dallas has to win this one if they want to keep hope alive. Now for the Saints, they really don't have any hope at this point. They can't make the playoffs. 8-8's going to be average season at best if they do win the next 2. Maybe Bounty Gate had something to do with it. Who knows? We may never know. That's playing devil's advocate. I cannot do that because I actually agree with the suspensions to a degree. But that's me. Now, Saints do hold the record for the head-to-head, but I think Dallas has been playing good, playing hot. They've been playing close football. Yes, I know. Dallas has had to win in the last 2 games in OT, but hey, that makes it more fun. I love watching games go to OT sometimes. And I say sometimes because then you got games like the San Francisco 49ers and Rams, which was a joke. Cowboys have an advantage in this one, though. I'm going to take rushing out of the equation because both teams don't rush too good. It's going to be a passing shootout match. You're going to see Romo and Drew Brees pass all day long. Now, the advantage for Dallas is the Saints are still the worst defense in the NFL. That could help them. Dallas's defense is ranked 15th. That's not bad. The Saints' offensive line is going to have to do its job if the Saints want to win this. But I'm taking my Cowboys. You already knew that. I always take my team to win. So hopefully Dallas can win, go to 9-6, and make that game against the Redskins mean a whole lot more. Speaking of the Redskins, we're going to skip them for a minute, and we're going to get back to them later because I actually want to talk about that game a little more than others. So we're going to skip that one for now. Let's go to the Rams versus the Buccaneers. I got the Rams on this one. Buccaneers have been playing bad football since that loss against Atlanta. So yeah. Next, a game that could have meant playoffs for Jets, but they blew it last night. San Diego Chargers versus the Jets. I'm taking the Jets on this one. San Diego has been nowhere to be found last few weeks. Next, Packers versus the Titans. Hey, I tip my hat to Tennessee. You beat the Jets ending their playoff run, but you're going against the Green Bay Packers now, who have definitely the better offense and a better defense than the Jets. Packers win this one at home. Next, a game that is very interesting interesting now, because I'm sure earlier this year it was not. Houston Texans taking on the Minnesota Vikings in Houston. Excuse me. Gotta take a drink. Gotta love RC Cola, folks. Vikings are 8-6, trying to keep playoff hopes alive. Right now, they do hold the 6th seed. So if they win out, they get in. Houston, they're just trying to get that 1st seed locked up right now in the AFC. Houston's got the better offense and defense. But my problem when this is why it's a hard pick, you got the Vikings who know one thing and one thing only. Let Adrian Peterson run with the ball all day long, my friend. It will work. But I don't think it's going to work this week. I'm taking the Houston Texans to win this one. It's going to be probably one of the better games of this week. Next, Broncos versus Browns. I'm taking the Broncos. Broncos are at home this week. Browns, you did put up a good fight against the Skins. Denver's just playing better football. Denver wins this one. Alright, now let's go to the game I was saving for reasons. The Washington Redskins will be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now this game probably at the start of the year really didn't mean much. Now it does. Because if the Redskins win this one, it makes Week 17 maybe against Dallas, depending on what happens, an elimination game. And I say that because here's the thing. Both Skins and Dallas can still make it if the following happens. They both go 9-7. Giants, Bears, Vikings lose this week and next week. That's the only way it can happen. Do I think that's going to happen? There's a small shot, but I doubt it. I'm taking the Redskins on this one. You showed me wrong last week. You did it the week before, so I'm going to pick you guys to win this week. Eagles have been playing bad football. You get RG3 back, so you should be able to win this game. But, as I always said with the Skins, what worries me when they're losing is the defense. Or winning for that matter is the defense. I don't trust it still. And I pose this question to anyone who is a Skins fan or be a fan of the sport. If the Skins do make the playoffs, I have to say if because I can't 100% guarantee it. If the Skins do make it, can their defense hang with teams like Atlanta, Green Bay, San Francisco, Seattle, and whoever gets the 6th seed? Okay, I'm not talking about offense. Offense, I'll give you, but it's their defense that could cost them. And that's why I'm asking. Their defense is their biggest weakness to me. You know, I do have the Skins winning this week. I'm telling you, their defense, I don't trust it. Just keep that in mind, okay, Skins fans and fans of the sport? Just think about that for a minute. Can their defense hang with the other teams in the NFC already going into the playoffs? Just think about it for a little while, okay? And let me know what you think. Now let's move on to the other games, the late games. You got the Bears versus the Cardinals. This is a do-or-die situation. Bears need to win to keep hope alive. Arizona's just playing now just to keep jobs. I'm taking Chicago on this one. You know, God, their offense sucks. But I don't think they could lose to Arizona. I don't think they could lose to Arizona. You know, granted, Lions just did. Chicago, if you want any hope alive, if you want any hope of not hearing the word joke or getting booed again by your own fans, you got to win this week. And Urlacher, this is to you. I know you're upset with the Bears fans booing you, booing the team, but you know what? I would have done the same thing with the way you guys played against Green Bay. That was a do-or-die game, and you blew it. Period. Blew it. Moving on. Giants versus Ravens. Oh dear God in heaven, this game. This game. You got the Giants who, from week to week, either they play great or they play like a high school football team who doesn't know what 2 + 2 is. Baltimore the last few weeks hasn't been able to show up either. But Ravens, like I said, are in the playoffs because of Pittsburgh's loss. A win for the Ravens here would at least lock up, I believe, the division at this point. Giants are just trying to hang on to hope. You know, Ray Lewis is supposed to be back this week. I can't say that for certain. You know, last week I thought he was going to be back, but that didn't happen. Ravens' defense is banged up. The offense ain't looking that good for Baltimore. So as much as it pains me, and I know my mom ain't going to like it because she's a Ravens fan, I got to take the Giants. I think they bounce back. You know, the Giants, they've done this before, where you think they're going to be done, stick a fork in them, and then all of a sudden they make it. So I got to take the Giants on this one. I don't think they're going to lose that bad back-to-back. Last game, Niners versus the Seahawks. This pretty much is for the division title at this point. Here's the thing with Seattle. Yeah, they've blown out their last 2 opponents. But at the same time, Seattle fans, I hate to tell you this, that was against the Arizona Cardinals, who suck, and the Buffalo Bills in Canada, and the Bills suck. Niners just beat the Patriots. I'm taking San Francisco on this one. Better defense, and their wins, particularly last week, was against a real football team, unlike Seattle, whose last 2 wins have been over teams who, let's be perfectly honest, stink. Alright? I know I'm probably making Seahawks fans mad. Oh, a win's a win. Yeah, a win's a win. But if you're going to honestly tell me saying Seahawks should beat, you know, should win the division just because those 2 wins, the last 2 wins, hell no. Beating the Bills in Arizona the way you did proved nothing. Okay, the only thing it proved is, yeah, Bills suck and Cardinals suck. Alright? So those are my picks for this week. I got the Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Bengals, Patriots, Colts, Cowboys, Rams, Jets, the Packers, the Texans, the Broncos, the Redskins, the Bears, the Giants, and the 49ers getting a W this week. Now let me know what you think of my picks. Are my picks going to be right this week, or will some of them not come true? I wish you guys to have a good week. I will see you all probably on Saturday talking to you, because the end of the world ain't going to happen, folks. And I will see you next week for NFL Week 17 picks. Till then, I am out. Merry Christmas, and hopefully you have a good New Year too. Peace.